Have you ever opened a game, a bunch of browser tabs, or even a few apps, and suddenly your computer feels slower than a snail? It's frustrating, right? You might think it's because your computer is old or just can't handle it, but most of the time that's not the case. The real culprit is usually your RAM running out of room. RAM stands for Random Access Memory, but a simpler way to think about it is as your computer's short-term brain. It keeps all the things you're actively using close by, so your CPU doesn't waste time digging through slower storage every time it needs something. In short, RAM is what keeps your computer feeling snappy or makes it drag its feet. So, what is RAM exactly? Imagine the inside of your laptop or phone as a tiny office. In that office, there's a table. Every time you open an app, your computer takes the important pieces of that app and places them on this table. That way, they're easy to grab instantly. Meanwhile, your hard drive or SSD is more like a massive closet. You wouldn't run to the closet for every pencil or notebook while working, right? You'd keep them on your desk while you need them. That's exactly what RAM does. It's the working area where your computer keeps things it's actively using. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so RAM is the table, but what does it actually do? To understand that, you need to know a little about your CPU, the central processing unit. Think of the CPU as a super fast worker. It can do amazing things, but only if the tools and files it needs are nearby. When you open a program, your computer doesn't ask the CPU to go fetch files from the hard drive every single time. That would be slow. Instead, it copies the main files into RAM so the CPU can access them instantly. This is why when you load a new level in a game or open a massive document, there's that brief pause. Your computer is essentially setting the table before you start using it. Without RAM, the CPU would constantly run back and forth to the hard drive, making everything sluggish. So, why do some computers feel faster than others, even if they have similar processors? The answer lies in RAM size and speed. Imagine your table again. A bigger table lets you keep more items ready, maybe music, a browser with multiple tabs, a video call, and even a game. If the table is small, you'll keep bumping things off the edge. That means your computer constantly has to shuffle things back and forth between RAM and storage. Speed is just as important. That's why having enough RAM and having it fast is crucial for smooth performance. Maybe all of this sounds abstract. Let's put it into everyday context. Imagine you're video chatting with friends while Spotify is playing, your homework is open in another window, and you're scrolling social media at the same time. Every app wants a piece of your table. Games are even more demanding. They store images, sounds, and rules for physics or movement, so everything can happen instantly. This is why multitasking can sometimes slow down your computer. It's not the number of apps, it's the RAM's ability to hold and manage them efficiently. Phones and tablets work in much the same way, though their RAM is smaller and soldered onto the board. They're clever about it. When you switch apps, they freeze or close apps you're not actively using to make room. That's why an older phone with 2 GB of RAM starts to lag when bouncing between TikTok, a game, and the camera. Newer phones with 8 GB or more handle all of these tasks without a hitch. Computers, especially desktops and many laptops, often allow you to add more RAM later, something most phones don't let you do. This flexibility is one reason desktops and laptops can remain useful for many years, even as software demands grow. So, how can you tell if your RAM is causing the slowdown? There are some clear signs. Apps might take forever to load, videos might pause during multitasking, or your computer could get unusually hot and noisy. You can also check directly. On Windows, open Task Manager. On Mac, check Activity Monitor. Look at memory usage. If it's consistently near 100%, your RAM might be maxed out. For general browsing, schoolwork, or office tasks, 8 GB is usually sufficient. But for gaming, video editing, or working with large files, 16 GB or more is far better. Now, here's the exciting part. Upgrading RAM is one of the simplest ways to make a computer feel like new again. Adding more RAM is literally like getting a bigger, faster table for your CPU to work on. On many desktops and some laptops, it's as easy as opening the case and plugging in another stick of memory. It's one of the most cost-effective upgrades you can do, especially compared to buying a completely new machine. Even older computers suddenly feel responsive and capable once you expand their RAM. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video.